This video is sponsored by Amazon. 10 facts about the Amazon App Store. Fact number 1, you can access the Amazon App Store on any Amazon Fire device or download on any Android device. Using the link in the description, you can download the Amazon App Store from your browser via Amazon Underground. Just make sure you enable unknown sources during the installation process. From there, you'll have access to a ton of free games and apps. You can even use Amazon coins, which are essentially digital currency exclusive to Amazon, to buy more Amazon apps and games. You can actually earn them from in-game purchases, or you can buy them outright to spend on games and apps for a discount. Now you know how to access the Amazon App Store. It's honestly that simple. In this segment of the HTC 10 30-Day Challenge series, we'll be talking about the build. If you're new to this series, click here to start from the beginning and watch the introduction video. The HTC 10 is one of the best built smartphones of 2016 so far, offering very little compromises. Now, at a glance, one may not notice all the incremental changes made to the device over last year's model, but there are many, and each one of them help to improve the overall experience. The HTC 10 is crafted with an aluminum unibody construction similar to that of the One M9, One M8, and the One M7. You have antenna lines towards the top and bottom rear of the phone. They do stretch around the sides as well. The only considerable amount of plastic here is found on the very top of the phone, and this is necessary to be able to transmit and receive data. You would start to have issues if the metal build had no antenna lines exposed at all. You'll see that the 12 megapixel camera sensor does protrude slightly from the rear, which means the glass will be more exposed to possible damage when the phone is on a flat surface. Next to the sensor is a dual tone flash and a laser autofocus sensor. The HTC branding is standard on the rear, but the carrier branding and FCC branding will vary. As you can see, I have the Verizon variant here. But the attention to detail on HTC's part is pretty incredible here. I think the most fundamental design change, at least on the rear of the phone, is the massive chamfered edge that stretches around the entire device on all four sides. From an angle, it disperses varying degrees of light. So when it's resting on a table during the day, it's going to appear to glow from the sun, which I think is pretty cool. The chamfered edge is apparent when holding the phone. It helps the HTC 10 fit more comfortably in the hand, especially with the tapered edges. Now let's talk buttons. There are two physical metal buttons on the right-hand side. There's one single volume rocker and the other acts as a power sleep on-off button. It's weird to praise buttons on an electronic device, but these buttons are very tactile. They're firm, clicky, and I love the rigid texture of the power button. It's a nice touch. It's rigid enough to know exactly what button your finger is touching. You will see a nano SIM card slot above the volume rocker on the right-hand side, and on the opposing side is a separate slot for a micro SD card for expandable storage. The front of the HTC 10 has been cleaned up a ton. The front consists mainly of a 5.2-inch Super LCD 5 QHD display. You no longer have an ugly, obtrusive HTC banner underneath the display like in previous models. And instead of on-screen navigation buttons, there are capacitive touch buttons for the back, home, and multitasking commands. The home button even doubles as a fingerprint scanner, which takes the shape of a rounded rectangle. The fingerprint sensor works well. It's not the fastest on the market, but far from the slowest. I noticed that while the home button is very sensitive, the sensor is smack dab in the middle. The entire scanner doesn't actually act, or doesn't appear to act as one big capacitive button, for better or for worse. The back and multitasking capacitive buttons do feature backlighting, and you can enable them to remain lit up indefinitely when the screen is on by going over into the settings. What you don't see on the front of the HTC 10 is the iconic dual front-facing stereo speakers. They've been replaced with a less powerful single front-facing tweeter and a bottom-facing bass port speaker. You can see a USB Type-C port next to it. Overall, the HTC 10 is hands down one of the best built smartphones of the year, and a contender to the best built smartphone ever in my opinion. I welcome HTC's decision to keep but tweak the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" build by adding an elegant and massive chamfered edge. I also love how they ditched the front branding and went with a design that improves the screen to body ratio. I wish HTC would have included the IR blaster that was found in previous flagships of theirs, and I would have preferred to have the 3.5mm headphone jack on the rear of the phone. Those are pretty minor complaints. I think it would also be pretty neat of them to experiment with a design that ditches the capacitive home buttons in favor of a bigger display with on-screen buttons and a rear fingerprint scanner. We'll have to wait for the HTC 11 on that one. But with that said, those are my thoughts on the design of the HTC 10. Let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to stay tuned for the next 30-day challenge video. And as always, I'm BoHD from PhoneDog.com. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.